video. And today is October, I'm already off to a very weird start, this writing angle. All right, so as a lefty, today's October something, October 12th. As a lefty, I have to turn the book like almost sideways to write when I'm writing like normally, but when I'm doing like hand lettering and brush lettering, I need to be like straight up and down. So, and I had to turn sideways. So that was just very funky. So this angling is very strange. So when I have it straight up and down, my hand lettering is way better. Anyway, okay. So I have never done a currently inked video, and I'm just starting to try to actually be more intentional about like what I have inked at any given time. Because I think that anyone who, first starts, what did I say it was, the 12th, to get into fountain pens, and maybe this is true even if you're not first starting, maybe it's true forever, but when you get a new pen, you are really excited to ink it up and try it out, right? And so, so it's not always the case that like new pen comes in and I will like, clear out a different pen first. And so you end up like having more and more pens that have ink in them. And then before you know it, like you have 20 pens and they are all inked up, and that just is kind of a lot. So, so I spent some time before clicking record, kind of culling down, really what am I actually like wanting to use this month, and what should I kind of put away so that I can pull it back out in a future month and kind of be excited about it again. So this is where we've landed right here. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which kind of sounds to me like a lot, but the reality is a couple of these are kind of like dedicated to certain books and certain functions. And so, it's not like at any given moment I'm pulling like one of these 11. It's more like I'm pulling one of one or one of 3 or 4, depending on the context. That'll make more sense as we get more into it. But what do I have inked? So what I'm going to do is I pulled all the actual inks. It's a combination of bottles and samples. And I have this very inexpensive Speedball nib holder and nib that I got at, I want to say Michael's for, it was like $6.99 for a pack of like 10 or something of all different sizes. But I like this, I don't know if it's zooming. I like this as kind of like a round little ball. So it makes a nice little swatch. So I'm going to swatch the ink and then write with the pen and tell you a little bit about the pen, and we'll see how it goes. So the first one we're starting with, this is a Jinhao 248. And these come in packs of, I want to say 5 on Amazon. And I've tried a couple different Jinhaos and have not liked some of them. Like the 9019, I did not like. It was way too big. And there's another one that I tried 2 of those like really giant ones. One was metal and one was transparent, like plastic. And they were too big, and I didn't like the nibs, and they were supposed to be fine nibs, but they wrote like bold nibs, and I just wasn't a fan. And then I had a Jinhao 82 that's like a knockoff of the Sailor Pro Gear Slim. And it was cool, except the cap cracked and like just totally broke. And then, I don't know, that was actually, here it is. I really liked the way this pen wrote for a while, but, and I liked the nib, but the cap cracked. And so I can't close the pen anymore, which kind of makes it worthless. I mean, I don't know. So if anybody has any ideas for how I can repurpose this nib, I do like the way the nib writes, but I don't know what to do with the pen. Anyway, but these were like dirt cheap. I don't even remember, but like so cheap. You get a pack of 5, and they've got like the light bright colors, and then they also had like kind of the darker wintry colors. And because they were so inexpensive, I was like, I'll take a risk on it. And I've loved these pens. I love the size, I love the weight, and I love the writing experience. I love the nibs. And I just don't ever hear anybody talking about these. Maybe people just think there's no way they're going to be good writers because they're so cheap. I don't know. But I've been really happy with them. So, so this one, they're all Jinhao 248. This one is currently inked with the Pilot Iroshizuku Yama Budo. And So many people raved about this ink on various different YouTube videos. So I was very excited when I finally got my hands on some Yama Budo. And it's just a really nice saturated color. You know, it's like kind of like in between pink and purple. But, you know, bold enough, rich enough to actually really write with. And I just love it. I think it's a great color. So let's see. This is what I mean by having to turn the book. This is the Jinhao 248. It's just a really nice writer. Here's the nib. And it is in a fine nib. And for these, because I have 10 in total, the 2 sets, I just kind of describe which one it is by saying barrel color and cap color. So white barrel and light pink cap. And it is inked with the Pilot Iroshizuku Yama Budo. Just writes really, really nice. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. So I feel like this is kind of good for any season also. All right. And next up is my TWSBI Eco in the Cafe Bronze. I love this pen. This was my Mother's Day gift this year for my husband. And it's just so pretty. And at first I had it inked up with a color kind of similar to the cap. I had it inked up with the Papier Plume caramel. But I changed it up this season. And it is now, that's not correct. It is now, there. Yep, it is now inked with the Diamine Blue Edition Poinsettia. And it's just a really nice, rich red. So let's see how that looks. Yeah. Nice and wet. Great red. And I feel like, you know, tis the season, fall, kind of get those like richer, saturated colors. And this has the stub 1.1 nib. And sometimes I do actually like to post my TWSBIs, but right now I'm not going to. So this is the TWSBI Eco Cafe Bronze in the stub 1.1 nib. And this is the Diamine Blue Edition Is it Poinsettia? That's what I thought. I kind of always hesitate on that. Poinsettia. I love that stub quality. That's really nice. I'm gonna do that again. That stub is really, really nice. Am I in frame? Is this working? I think so. I think this is working, but yeah, I kind of like that pairing. I think it's kind of nice. It's just kind of rich and, I don't know, cozy. All right, next up, we have my Pilot Prera, which is a really nice writer, but I have found that I just don't love little pens that much. I need something more substantial. So I like this. It's good for kind of on the go when I need something compact, but I don't generally gravitate toward it because I just feel like it's kind of feels kind of puny. But it is a really good writer. And right now I have it inked it up with the Sailor Ink Studio 730, which is a really nice color. So I am going to continue to use my Pilot Prera until it is dry. But this is just a really pretty kind of corally orange. And I don't know, kind of feels like for October, Halloween, it's nice, but it's not really a fall orange. It's really more of like a spring orange, but I just want to continue writing with this until it is dry. So this is in a medium nib because this was a pen that I got after I experienced with some Pilot Kakunos and realized that the fine nib on a pilot is mighty fine. So this is a medium, but it still writes like a fine for almost any other brand. Pilot Prera, and this is cream and silver, like cream body silver hardware in a medium nib. But see, that does not feel medium. Like feels finer than this one, and the Jinhao is a fine and the pilot is medium. And this is Sailor Ink Studio. I think it is 730. I wish that Sailor Ink Studio used names for their colors, not just numbers. I feel like those are easier to remember. Although I'm good at remembering numbers in general, but I don't know, for colors, I feel like for a color I want a name. It's like one of my favorite things about getting my nails done is picking the color, the polish color, and I definitely let the name of the color influence the decision, for sure. Okay, I feel like the more clever the name, the more excited I am to use it. So that is the Sailor Ink Studio 730. It's a really pretty color, and I like that it's like still really easy to read. And yeah, the palette, it's just a nice writer, but I just feel like it's not as substantial. All right, and next up, we have what does feel a little bit more of like a fall color, and that is the Papier Plume, which is from New Orleans, which is my hometown, Streetcar Green. When I first got this green, I wasn't like super excited about it. I felt like it was like kind of a little bit of a dull green, but it has grown on me because it actually is kind of like Streetcar Green. It's kind of muted. Oh, that was like way too much ink. I'm gonna dab that so we don't have too much bleed through. I think we're still gonna have bleed through. I don't know if that dabbing really was successful. Anyway, I didn't love it, but it's kind of grown on me. I don't know. It does have like a fall vibe. So I have some more like bright saturated greens, but right now I am kind of feeling this green. So this is another one of those Jinhao 248s. This one, white body green cap. And again, I really like the way it writes, and it gives that tiny bit. I don't know if you can hear it, but I like that little bit of feedback it gives. Not scratchy whatsoever. Light green cap. That's a fine. And this is the Papier Plume. I think the full name is Streetcar Green. Yeah. Streetcar Green. And let's do it over here. Yeah, I'm kind of loving this green today. I think I'm gonna write with this today in my journal. I like it. It has definitely grown on me. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, it's funny. Like when I first got it, I was like, wah, wah. I think I was just kind of more feeling like a mood for like a bright, kind of more of like a Kelly green, like a bold green. But right now, I'm really liking this. It's more muted. It's pretty. All right. Speaking of bright, more exciting greens, this I love. This is Anderillium inks. I have 2 inks by Anderillium that I love. I only have 2 inks by Anderillium, and I love both of them. I went to my very first pen show over the summer in July in Miami, and the owner of Anderillium was there. I'm blanking right now on his name. Super, super nice guy. And this was the limited edition ink that he made for the show. I don't know if you can read that. Let me see. Is it focused? Yeah. Limited edition ink, 2024 Miami Pen Show. It's called Vizcaya Green, named after Vizcaya. And it's just such a great, pretty green. And I also happened to grab at that pen show this gorgeous transparent green TWSBI Eco. And they are just a match made in heaven. I love this Eco. Except for the fact that it's a bold. It is so wet and juicy. I wish I had gotten it in a fine, but it wasn't a bold. I couldn't get it in a fine. This was like a special, it was like on sale. It didn't have the package with it. So it was just a really good deal. I got it for like, probably like 60% of what you would normally pay for TWSBI Eco. And I just love this color. But yes, let's take a look at this Vizcaya Green. It's a beautiful, beautiful ink. I just love green in general. Look at that. That is so pretty. Love that green. Love it, love it. Whoops. It's pretty, it's bright, it's happy. Did I close that? Yes, okay. All right, are we still in frame? Are we good? Do I need to move the book up? Okay. So, yeah, so I'm gonna cap my TWSBI this time. See, I just had like a more substantial pen in hand. Like, look at the difference between that. We got the Prera versus, pretty significant difference. Okay, TWSBI. See how bold that is? It's a lot. TWSBI Eco Transparent Green. Oh, look, speaking of green, I got my green nails today. In bold. Yeah, it's bold and juicy. And this is the Anderillium inks. Vizcaya green. Yeah, very nice, very nice. Very, very pretty. Yeah, I love that green. Very pretty. I feel like that pen and ink combo just goes together. It's like hard to imagine putting anything else in that pen. All right. Next up is a very exciting thing for me because I've like my dream pen for really like the last 6 months has been the Benu Astro Gem in Midas. I'm like dying for that pen, but I just like can't justify getting it. So I'm like putting it on my wish list for the holidays. I just think it's gorgeous and dying for it. But I've just had my eye on several different Benus and have not pulled the trigger on any of them until I was in Ithaca, New York, and we were visiting colleges and went into this little pen shop, and I think it was called like Mockingbird, and they had just a few Benus and they were kind of clearing them out. And so I was able to pick up this Benu Euphoria Vodka on the Rocks, which is quite blingalicious, for a steal. I mean, I was so excited. It was awesome. But it has not been the best writer. And I think it's because it was maybe being used as a tester. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it had just gotten some like abuse from patrons. And so it just wasn't writing that great. I had to like put a lot of pressure on the nib for the ink to flow. And I was just, it was like, wah, wah. So I scoured the internet and did some research and found that people were saying that you could swap out a TWSBI VAC 700 nib into a Benu Euphoria, and it was like a seamless swap. So for weeks I thought about it. I finally ordered it. It came in. It didn't work. And then I did some more research and I realized that it was me who was not making it work. It wasn't the nib. And I figured out how to make it work, and I did some surgery, and I got my TWSBI VAC 700 nib in here, and it is working beautifully. So that is a TWSBI fine nib in my Benu Euphoria Vodka on the Rocks. And if you can see, there's blue specks, blue in there. And so I decided to go with an ink that would bring that out. And I chose the Pilot Iroshizuku Peki for this pen, and I am digging it. So let's see how that looks. Did I get any ink? No, what is going on here? There we go. The Pilot Iroshizuku Peki. Yeah. That's such a pretty blue. So this is not necessarily giving fall vibes, but this nib swap just happened this week. Like I just accomplished this, I believe, on Wednesday. And I was so excited to get this nib in here and get it working that this pen just has to be part of my rotation right now. And I just love to Peki with it. So even though this isn't really a fall color, it's happening. So this is the Benu Euphoria, Vodka on the Rocks with TWSBI VAC 700 fine nib. And it is inked with Pilot Iroshizuku Con Peki. So nice. Loving it, loving it, loving it. And really just loving writing with this pen now. It's such a nice weight. It's just a great writing experience. Very, very happy. Put that there. All right. Next up, we have my very first, like, really nice pen. My first nice pen was, like, because I had bought, like, cheap pens. I think the fanciest pen I had gotten was the Pilot Prera for myself. And then for Mother's Day, I, like, asked for, like, my first nice pen. And that's what my husband got me, my TWSBI Eco and Cafe Bronze. And then for my birthday, my husband told my brothers that I was obsessing over the Esterbrook Estie. And my brothers and my sister-in-law got me this gorgeous Esterbrook Estie in the Bleu Nouveau. I love it. This is not limited edition. This is one of their kind of evergreen colorways, but it's my favorite colorway. Like, I know a lot of people in the fountain pen community are like obsessed with just like kind of limited editions and special editions, but when it comes to the Esterbrook Estie, like, it's just so pretty. I love this one. So I love it so much. This is the Esterbrook Estie Bleu Nouveau with a fine nib, and I have it inked with the Pilot Iroshizuku Asa Gao. It's a nice, nice pairing. I really obsessed over what ink to put in this pen since it was like my first like super fancy pen. I know it's all relative. Like for me, it's super fancy. For other people, like they have 12 Esties, and super fancy for them is like, I don't know, some super expensive platinum or whatever. But for me, or Pelican or whatever, for me, this is the high end. And I love it. So yeah, I totally obsessed about what ink to put in here. I asked for advice online, and people were saying to put in a brown, but I didn't want to put in a brown. I really like this is such a beautiful blue. I kind of wanted the ink to bring out, the blue. So I have sometimes capped this because I do kind of like the sturdiness of it, but I also write with it uncapped. Am I still in frame? I believe so. All right, so this is the Esterbrook. It writes so nicely. Estie in blue. I think it's, Bleu, isn't it? For this pen. Bleu Nouveau in a fine nib. And this is Pilot Iroshizuku Asa Gao. So lovely. Just such a pretty blue and such a nice writer. And thank you to my brothers for this gorgeous birthday present. All right. Next up, we have what felt for a long time like another kind of little special secret that I had discovered. This is the other Jinhao model that I have just fallen in love with. This is the Jinhao 80, not to be confused with the Jinhao 82. And I suppose it's like a knockoff of the Lamy 2000. I do not have a Lamy 2000, but from what I've seen online, it looks similar. You can tell right away that from the nib that it is not a Lamy 2000. The Lamy 2000's nib is like way more hooded. But this writes great. I really like it. I think it's like $9.99 on Amazon. It's a nice weight. It's got a great flow. It's just a great pen. And I have this Jinhao inked up with Diamine Oxblood. And I think it's a really nice pairing. It kind of, I think because it's coming out of a brown pen, it makes the ink look a little bit more brown than bloody, which I like. I don't love the name Oxblood. I don't love that kind of visual of that, like writing with blood. It's not my jam so much, but I do like the color as a writer. Not as much as I thought I would, though. So many people rave about Diamine Oxblood, and like it's okay, but I'm not. To me, it's like it's not the end all be all. Okay, but it is nice coming out of this pen. I do think it works well. It's kind of a nice neutral. So this is the Jinhao See how nice that writes? The Jinhao 80, and this is the brown / gold. It's a fine nib, and this is Diamine Oxblood. Yeah, it just looks more of like a brown, I think, probably because of the associate. Maybe if this was coming out of like a burgundy pen, it'd look more burgundy, but it's coming out of this brown pen. I feel like it just looks brown. But it's a really nice smooth writer. It's great for a long writing session. It's just got a really good flow. I mean, it's you know, it's nice. It's working. Okay, next up we have the Sheaffer 100 Coffee Edition. So I decided I had to have this pen when I saw Drew from Goulet Pens raving about it. It is just so cute. There's a coffee cup. Can you see that clearly on the cap with like a little heart in it? And it's kind of got this ombre effect, and the metal is kind of like a bronzy coppery shade. I don't know if that's coming through that well, but and it's kind of a smaller pen. Like if you compare it to like it's the Esterbrook Estie. That's this is the regular size Estie. It's a little bit shorter, a little bit thinner, but it's metal, so it's got a little bit of weight because of being metal. So it's not like too dinky, but it's not too much weight. So I have this inked up with what has really been, I think, my favorite ink color that I've gotten so far at all. And it was just a random sample, little swatch that I got from Benu. That's the first time I ever ordered samples. And it's the KWZ brown ink. And as you can see, it's pretty much empty. Did I say brown ink? Brown pink, KWZ brown pink. To me, it's just like got the perfect amount of pink. And yeah, I just love it. So let's see, did I get any on there? Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. It looks a little bit more pink right now on that swatch, but when you write with it, I feel like it looks more brown. So this is the Sheaffer 100 Coffee Edition in a fine nib with the KWZ brown pink. It's just a really nice writer. It's nice and fine. Nib is really pretty. You see that clearly? Let's see. Really pretty. It's got like nice curvature, and it's, again, it's kind of got this, I don't know if you can really see that great, but oh, that was kind of loose. It's just really pretty. It's like a coppery color. So yeah, loving it. All right, we only have two more. Second to last is the kind of gray ink in the rotation at the moment. And it is also a KWZ ink, and it is, where is it? It is the KWZ Gray Plum. And it's also really pretty. I like inks that have like, that are like one color, but with like a little hint of a different color. I think that's kind of fun. So like the brown pink, it's like brown, but it's kind of pink. Okay, and this is also inked up on one of those Jinhao 248s. This is from the set that has the kind of the darker colors, not the white barrel, but the darker barrels. And these also are fine. So this is the Jinhao 248 in the gray barrel with a lighter gray cap and a fine. Oh, this is looking like it's not this color. This looks like it's a different gray. Have I lost it? Have I confused what this is inked with? No, this is definitely the Gray Plum in there. You can tell. No, that's the Gray Plum. Wow, it is not looking very plum whatsoever in the writing sample. KWZ Gray Plum. It really, I'm not seeing any plum. No, I'm seeing no plum. what is happening? I am worried that, I'm not worried, but like wondering if I inked it with a different gray and just didn't update my notes. I don't know. That's interesting. I do like this gray, but it is not looking plum. I'll have to explore that. All right, and last but not least, we have my TWSBI Eco Black. This pen was a birthday present from my husband. So on the same night that my brothers gave me my blue Nouveau Esterbrook Estie, my husband gave me my black TWSBI Eco, and I love it. And it's a fine nib. And I've tried a couple different colors in it, but the reality is I just really like the platinum carbon black in it. It's just my favorite black by far. And it is the black that I use in my Hobonichi 5-year Techo. And I just kind of have a hard time imagining wanting to put anything else in my black TWSBI Eco. It's just my go-to black. Man, there was a lot of ink on that nib just now. I feel like I need to suck some of that up too. Okay. And just love this pen. So this is the, am I still in frame? I think so. This is the TWSBI Eco in black and silver hardware. And this is a fine, but like way thicker than like the Pilot Prera medium. And this is platinum carbon black, which is my favorite black. Nice permanent black. Nice, bold, rich, saturated black. Yeah, just a great black. All right, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yep, 11. So let's look at this palette. This is what we have here. Am I currently inked for, I was gonna say for October, but it's really kind of like for the second half of October because today's the 12th. But I'm just really trying to kind of limit myself to just some pens and some colors so that I can actually change things up month to month and not have like every single pen inked up. But yeah, it's looking good. We got the Yama Budo, the Poinsettia, the Sailor Ink Studio 730, the Streetcar Green, the Vizcaya Green, Peki, Asa Gao, Oxblood, the KWZ Brown Pink, the KWZ Gray Plum, although the jury's still out whether that's what's actually in the pen, and the TWSBI Eco Platinum Carbon Black. So there we have it. This is my first video relating to fountain pens and ink and this hobby. But I think I'm going to do more because it's kind of fun and it keeps me accountable to actually clean out my pens and refresh things and all of that. So please leave a comment below if you enjoyed this video, if you want to tell me which one is your favorite, or if you have an ink color that you can recommend that you think I would love, or a great pen that you think I would love just based on what I've said about my pen preferences. I would love to hear your feedback. And I hope everybody's having a great month. And I'll catch you again in the next one. Thanks, y'all. Bye.